Hey, what's up guys, it is SpadeCR back with another video, and today I'm going to be playing Supercell's new game, Brawl Stars. Unfortunately, it's only out in Canada, and the reason that I have it is because I switched my App Store location to Canada from America, and downloaded the app from there. So I would recommend that you guys do that because I like this app a lot, and I think it has a really bright future. So what I'm going to be doing in my next couple videos is I'm going to be going through the game's 5 game modes and ranking all of the brawlers based on how effective I think they are in that game mode. And I'm probably going to be splitting each game mode into 2 parts. So we're going to be starting with Bounty. It's an okay game mode. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but I think that all of them are pretty fun to a certain extent. This one's probably just not at the top of my list. But I'm still going to be playing it for you guys today. And I'm going to start off with the player who I think is the worst in this game mode, who is Jessie. Okay, so Jessie is a brawler that shoots out an electric orb thingy from her little device. And it can bounce off brawlers and other objects up to 2 times, which means that it can hit a max of 3 objects. If we're talking about Showdown, you can hit boxes with her beam too, and it'll ricochet off those. But right now, we only have brawlers to hit, so that's really all that the orb will be effective for. It'll only bounce off of brawlers. But the reason I put Jessie so far down is, well, before I start, first of all, I think that all of these brawlers are capable of being really good in these game modes. I think this is an incredibly well-balanced game for how new it is. But there are definitely some brawlers who are not quite as effective as others in certain game modes. So the reason I put Jessie so far down is because her orb doesn't really do much damage and it's a single shot, so sometimes it can be hard to hit other brawlers, and her range is not that good, but her superpower is pretty good. She shoots out a turret that shoots at enemies whenever she sees them, or whenever they are not behind walls, and when the turret is able to shoot them. And it does quite a bit of damage, but it can be killed pretty easily from a long distance or from up close, really. And like I said, her attack just doesn't do that much damage, and her range is not that good. But her orb does bounce off of other brawlers, which can be very effective if you want to deal a lot of damage to brawlers that are kind of clumped together, or if you want to, if a brawler is behind a wall or at a weird angle, then you can use their teammates to get to them. So this game is pretty close. We're only apart by 1 point right now, and we just took the lead. We've kind of been behind the whole time, but we've pulled ahead as the game has progressed. And as long as these 2 other brawlers stay back, we should be good, and we won our first match. So we're going to move on to our next brawler. We started off on a high note with a win, and next on the list we have Pam. I think. Yes, Pam. Okay. So Pam, another brawler who has potential to be good in this game mode. The thing is, she's just not very good at killing brawlers, because from a long distance, you only do about like 100, 120 damage per shot. Because her attack does this, it lets out a lot of bits of metal and stuff, but each little scrap does not do that much damage, so from a long range, she's not that effective. But her superpower is very strong, and from a close range, she does quite a bit of damage. The area that she covers is very wide, and she has a lot of health, and her super is very strong. It is a healing station that can really change the tide of a game, because if she puts it down, then all of her teammates can kind of just go into it and instantly be healed, and they won't have to worry about taking damage as much as they did before. But sometimes it can clump up players, so if you have a superpower that covers a wide area, then Pam's station might not be very effective for her and her teammates. But she is very good. The margin between the bottom of the list and the top of the list is really not that high because, like I said, this is a very well-balanced game. But Pam is not quite as good as other brawlers because she cannot do that much damage from far away, and there's a good chance that brawlers will be able to take her out before she does any real damage. But we're doing pretty well with her. I have not gotten any kills, but I've kind of just been sitting back a little bit and, you know, passively dealing a bit of damage. Not really game-changing or anything, but I'm not doing too bad. I haven't died too many times, at least. My healing station is back there. We're not really using it that much, but we will have that option. I'm going to try to take out this other Pam before I have to draw back, but she kind of hid behind that wall and I couldn't get her. And it looks like we're going to lose this battle. This margin of a lead is, or not this margin of a lead, the margin of their lead is just too large for us to pull this through. I guess I could try to take out this Piper here. And actually, if that El Primo manages to take out that Brock, which he did, nah, it just doesn't look like we're going to have a chance because I was not able to get that much damage off on that Piper. But, we're going to move on to our next brawler, who is Bull. Now, this might be a bit of a surprise, and on this map that I'm playing, Bull is actually quite good, so I'm going to go to this other map, Shooting Star, just to show you guys why I put him so far down on the list. Now, as many of you guys who already play the game know, Bull is very powerful up close. But the thing is, this game mode is dominated by long-range brawlers. So if you try to go out into the open and try to approach the long-range brawlers, they'll just do what that Piper is doing to me right now. They will just pick you off before you get anywhere close to them. Just like this Colt, and they can just run away. Now, I did not expect him to stop like that. So, I didn't really have a plan for him doing that. And he had a superpower, which I didn't know. And he took me out. And the only reason that I got a kill was because that Ricochet was already in our spawn. And that's why my superpower is charged as well. But as you can see, this Ricochet and this Piper are just taking me down before I can get close enough to do any real damage. And as you guys saw when I killed that Ricochet earlier, Bull does a lot of damage, but he just can't get close enough. And he has a lot of hit points, but just not enough. And you see how much damage that Piper and that Colt did to me right there? I wasn't able to get close. Now, I could use my superpower, but the thing is, it's kind of hard to land, and it doesn't do that much damage, and I would kind of just be putting myself right in the middle of their enemy ranks, I guess you could say. And the only reason that I even got it charged in the first place was because that Ricochet was in our spawn. Now, I was in a pretty good position, but that Piper took me out. And I couldn't get close enough to her to do any real damage. Now, I could use my superpower, like I've said. But the thing is, I don't really have that many opportunities. And the other thing about Bull's superpower is that you can kill him, you can do damage to him while he's charging, like this. And sometimes it's not very effective. Now, it worked right there, but you see how low my health is? I'm going to be taken out, yeah. That Colt unnecessarily used a superpower and took me out. So that's why I put Bull so far down. But he is a very strong brawler, and he can be very effective in that other map that I was playing, Star Gulch. But even then, sometimes he can't do that well in that map because players like to go in the middle if they're long range, not on the edges. Okay, next up, we have, I believe, El Primo, yes. So, I really put El Primo so far down for the same exact reason that I put Bull so far down. He is a short-range character that does a crap ton of damage up close. His reload speed is very, very fast, so he can be very effective if he gets up close, but he can't get up close. And this Piper is inactive. She was. I think she might have just been raging because she had both an El Primo and a Mortis on her team. But the reason I put El Primo so far down is, yeah, because he can't get close enough to do any real damage. Now, I got pretty close right there. I don't really know how. But now I'm going to be taken out because that Piper just does so much damage. And that Mortis is probably going to finish me off. And my controls got messed up, and that Piper picked me off with her sniper. It's weird, my controls do that sometimes. When I drag it towards the edge sometimes, my finger kind of slips off of the controls, and I can't move, and I get killed. That happens a lot. That's one thing that Brawl Stars, that Supercell should probably fix before global release. But El Primo's superpower, like Bull's, is kind of a way to get closer to enemy players and do a lot of damage to them. He jumps up into the air, and a lot of times it's used to actually escape when he has low health. I did it earlier, and a lot of times it's used to get closer to players so that he can take them out. And I thought I was going to be able to kill that Brock right there, but for some reason I went out of range. I'm not really sure why, and that Mortis finished me off. But yeah, there's not really much more that needs to be said about Primo, because the reason that he is so far down is very, very similar to the reason that Bull is so far down. So I'm kind of just going to finish out this battle, and maybe do a little bit of commentating. Is that even a word? Yeah, I think it is. But, yeah, not really much I can do, because as soon as I come out here, that Piper is going to try to take me out. And, I almost think that maybe I should have put Bull and Primo in the last two spots, but they can be very effective on other maps. Maybe still not the most effective out of all the brawlers, but still more effective. And one map that really turns everything upside down is Snake Prairie. That's one where the grass is pretty much all the way around the map, and El Primo and Bull are actually great in those maps, and they dominate because, or not those maps, that map, because they do so much damage up close and they can just sneak up on people. But that's a factor that I had to kind of ignore when counting, or when doing the bounty rankings, because it's just so unlike all of the other bounty maps, and it kind of throws everything out of whack. So I could not factor it in. And next we have Mortis. So I can't play with him because I don't have him yet. But the reason I put him so far down is because he has pretty low health, and like El Primo and Bull, he is a close range character, and a lot of times he gets killed before he can get close enough to do any damage to the enemy team. Now, the one thing that he has going for him is his dash. Or not his dash. His dash is really just his regular attack. He dashes forward whenever he swings his shovel, so that can kind of help him get to the other side fast enough. But a lot of the time, it doesn't even matter, because Pipers and Brocks and Colts can just pick him off before he gets to the other side. And his superpower is he lets forth a swarm of vampire bats that give him back 200 health and take away 200 health from whichever enemies the swarm of vampire bats hits, which can be more than one enemy. So that can be pretty effective if he wants to get into the enemy ranks and do a lot of damage to them. But, like I said, a lot of times it's hard for him to get all the way over there because of his low health and his close attack range. So after Mortis, we have Poco. Now, Poco, he is a very underestimated brawler in my opinion. I still think he's towards the bottom of the list of brawlers, but he's a lot better than people give him credit for. And he's actually pretty good in Bounty. Everyone from here up is actually pretty good in Bounty. Really, only the people at the bottom of the list, like the bottom 5, are not the best at Bounty, or at least okay. But really, everyone from here up is pretty good at Bounty and has a fair amount of potential. But the reason I put Poco so far down is because his range is not very long. His health, although higher than average, is still not that high comparatively to like Bull and El Primo and Pam. And a lot of times he just can't do enough damage, and he can't get close enough to other brawlers to really do anything. But once he does get close enough to them, if they're all clumped together, he can do damage to all of them because his attack goes through brawlers. So if they're all clumped together, he can do a lot of damage to everyone, which can be drastic to them. It can really make a difference. And his superpower, which is he lets out a weird little cord thing, very wide range, and it can heal the health. Like, it can make everyone on his team, including his health, go back up all the way, because it does 400 damage at level 1 when his super is at level 1, but it does even more healing as you get farther up, and it's a very powerful superpower in some cases. Now I'm getting pretty close to this Dynamite and that Barley, but they're gonna pressure me off because I can't really get close enough to them. And I could have used my heal there. I actually tried, but I was not quick enough. So if I can manage to get close enough to these two, which is proving very hard because of that Dynamite, yeah, that Dynamite is really just destroying it out there. He's probably going to get star player, but really, everyone on this team is pretty good. Now, I just took him out. Whoa! Barley's superpower, dang. And I won't be able to take out that Brock, but I was not able to be effective with Poco in this battle because you've got Barley and Dynamite who can lob stuff over walls, and Brock who can take him out from a pretty long range. And really, the only thing that put Poco so far up is because his attack can go through brawlers, does a decent amount of damage, and covers a wide area, and plus his superpower, his healing superpower, I don't think you guys got to see it. No, you did, but I just healed myself. Can be very game-changing. So, next up, we have Spike. I don't have him either. But he is another brawler who's pretty solid in this game mode. But his health is pretty low. He can be picked off from a long distance because his range is not the greatest and his health is very low. But if he throws his cactus things, he has great crowd control. Like if all three of the brawlers are clumped together and he throws his cactus, he can do quite a bit of damage to them. And if he hits a brawler on contact with his cactus, I think it's 300 damage, which doesn't really make sense because 120, which is how much each of his spines do, does not go into 300, but I don't know how they calculate that. But each of his spines does 120 damage, which is alright. I mean, if you put it into perspective, even the lowest health brawlers, it would take 5 of his spines to kill one completely. But his spines can go around walls. Sometimes they can't literally go around them, but if he throws his cactus kind of past a wall or something, it can smoke out people who are hiding behind it because his spines can get into angles that other brawlers' attacks cannot achieve. And his superpower is very powerful. If he catches brawlers in it, him and his teammates can demolish whoever got caught in it. And his superpower is really overpowered in some cases, but his health is very low, and his spines don't do too much damage, which is why he's so far down. So after Spike, who do we have? We have Nita. Now, Nita is not a brawler that I have at the top of my brawlers list, but if she gets up close, she can dominate because her shockwave can go through other brawlers and her reload speed is extremely fast. She does quite a bit of damage. So I'm going to be showing you guys how she works. Her range is not the best, but it's still fine, kinda. So if I get close up to, see, look at that, I just took out that Dynamite, and I almost took out that Piper too, but I was not quite close enough. And I can really start wrecking people with Nita because my reload speed is so fast, and yeah, my damage is okay, but that Piper just took me out, and I got pretty far into their base, but I wanted to get kills, and I really had no other option. But I did quite a bit of damage, and my attack can go through people, and it can be very effective. Now, you got Nita's superpower, her bear. I don't really like her bear that much. I think it's the worst superpower in the game. But it's good for kind of like driving people out of their places, you know, getting them to run away. And they can't really move freely as they wish. But it's more annoying than actually effective. Like, it usually doesn't do a lot of damage because I think it's a bit slower than brawlers, and they can just take it out from a distance. But it has a pretty good amount of hit points, and it can chase people away. But yeah, it can't really do any real damage. It kind of just annoys people and relocates them, I guess. But her spawn range for that bear is not very long, so a lot of times she can't get it close enough to anything for it to be effective. But like I said, once she gets close, she does a lot of damage, so that's why I put her so far up this list. I'm just going to try to play this out, you know, get farther into their base so I can do some damage. But this Piper is really a problem, and I'm going to spoil it for you guys right now. I put Piper at the top of the bounty list. I'm sure there are no surprises there, at least not many. And whoa, this Brock spawned right by me, and that Piper's probably going to take me out. Yep, she did. And dang, this was a really close match, and we might even be able to close it out. But not quite. Now that Piper had a chance to take out the other Piper, but she didn't for some reason. I don't know. But that was a pretty good match with Nita. And next up, we have... who do we have? We've got Shelly. Okay. Now, Shelly is another character who, like Bull and Primo, can sometimes not get close enough to other players to do that much damage. But her range is a bit better than theirs is, and her superpower is, it really does a lot of damage. It can be very overpowered, and you see, I can get close enough to this bow, and from far away, she does quite a bit of damage as well. Like, I just took out that Piper, and she had a bit of distance on me, and I really did not think that I could take her out from that far away, but I did. I don't think the same thing is true for Bull. He does more damage up close, but maybe a bit less from far away. And I almost took out both that Bow and that Piper, but they finished me off before I could. Now, I'm going to give you guys a taste of her superpower pretty soon, if you guys are not experienced and don't know what it does. It does a crap ton of damage. Now, I can just stay behind this wall, and they're going to have to get close to me, and I can kind of just advance on them and use my superpower and absolutely demolish them. If I can actually get close to them, because this bow is kind of pressuring me away, and I will be able to kill him without my superpower. Oh, but that Piper stopped me from. She's going to get demolished. Oh, no, I did not place that superpower very well, and I almost killed that Piper. I probably would have if I had placed that a lot better than I did, but I wasn't able to. So, we've done quite a bit of damage, though, and we've been close to having a lot of kills, but I haven't been able to close any of them out, I don't think, except for one when I killed that Piper towards the beginning. And this bow is really proving to be a problem. He's kind of keeping me out and keeping me from advancing into their area, but here I go. I'm going to try to do some damage. But there goes that bow again. And I can take out this Piper, yes, and I can not take out that Brock. I was not quite close enough to use my super, and I didn't want to use it unless I was guaranteed to kill, because I would not have been able to close it out. That bow would have taken me out. But it looks like we're going to win this battle. I think it's really that Piper who's carrying our team, if that's even a Piper. Yep, that's her. Oh, look at this. They just got a lot of points, but we're still going to win. And there's Shelly's superpower again. And I almost killed that bow towards the end. So that's Shelly for you guys, and we're going to have our last brawler for this part of the video. And that brawler is going to be Barley. Yes, Barley. Okay. So Barley is a brawler that can throw his bottles over walls. A pretty useful ability. And he leaves puddles on the ground because his bottles have acid in them. And those puddles can be pretty annoying because he can block up, entryways and stuff. Keep people from escaping and kind of cage them a little bit in one spot. So I'm going to give you guys a little taste of what Barley is like. Now as we get farther up the list, I'm going to have a lot of praise and a lot less criticism. So I'm going to give my criticism for Barley right now. His health is not the greatest, and his range is not the greatest. A lot of times, he can't really get close enough to brawlers to really do any damage to them. See, his bottles can only go as far as I'm making them stretch right now. And since there are so many long-range characters in this game, a lot of times he can't get close enough to them. But when his super gets charged up, it absolutely demolishes, and it's pretty hard to survive if you're already low on health and Barley's super gets played on top of you. Now, I'm not really doing much with Barley right now because I just simply can't get close enough to anyone to do any real damage, and I probably should not have walked out into the center. I guess I'm kind of focusing on talking a bit more than playing, but I'm doing a bit of damage to that bowl. I'll be able to do some to that Colt. Yeah, never mind. And that bowl is kind of just advancing towards me and getting destroyed. So, where is he? Is he going to pop out of the bushes? Nope, there he is. Okay. I'm not going to use my superpower. Oh, she used it early. Not the smartest move, and that bull went towards me, which was also not the smartest move. So I can kind of take out that bull. Nope, I can't. He ran away. I was too far away. I shouldn't use my super then. So that Piper kind of just left me alone to kill that bull. And I will take that opportunity, because he's dead if I play this right. But of course I didn't play it right. I'm really good at not playing things right. But I was able to kill him in the end. So, we're doing pretty well. Decent match, but we'll win by an okay margin. At least if nothing goes completely wrong, which it's not looking like it will. This bull is just going to keep chasing me around and walking in my puddles. And I'm sure he's pretty mad at me. Doesn't like me very much. So, sometimes Barley is really only effective for close range characters, but once he gets close, he does a lot of damage, and he can keep players from progressing, and his superpower really does do a lot of damage. So, that's going to be the end of part 1 of my Showdown video, or not Showdown, Bounty. I'm sorry, I was filming Showdown earlier, but I decided to do this first. So that's going to be the end of my Bounty part 1 video. And part 2 is going to be coming for you guys pretty soon, probably within the next hour. So until then, peace out.